Good morning, my people. I will tag below this video what we did in this area like a year ago. This was one of the most infertile point of our farm, and we had brought in the element of God's farming. God's farming was a way of regenerating the soil through feeding it with organic matter and also understanding the acidity of your soil so that you balance the pH. So what we did, I remember in this pot, we got a lot of wood ash. Wood ash is a base. So if your soil is acidic, acidity usually comes from using so much of the artificial fertilizer, especially during planting season. Like for us, from this maize, we have done a lot of DAP, and all those synthetic CN, all those synthetic fertilizers, so as it can assist in the growth of the maize. But aside from assisting in the growth of the maize, remember also it is affecting on the acidity of the soil. So this part, the very first time we wanted to plant maize here, it did not do well. If you go to our previous video, you'll see that it was yellow in color. But what we did, we applied the wood ash and we mixed it along the farm. Then we did a lot of mulching. So when this season came and we planted now our maize on for the second year, as you can see, I think it's the most productive. Just compare this side with that other side. That other side was the most fertile part, but this side was the most dormant part. So farm manure has also assisted us. This is also farm manure that we have applied on our fruit trees. You'll see the apples for this season. They are beautifully big and they are very sweet. I was thinking they'll not become sweet, but all they needed was some sunlight. So when the sunlight came, we were able to get beautiful fruits. I've also gotten a lot of tomatoes. Remember, we have been harvesting tomatoes on our last videos. So until to a point, I've decided now to go and can some of them because they are now becoming excessively too many. And we can just count the number of trees that or plants that we did for the tomatoes. They're less than 10. Yes, less than 10. But now it's a month plus since we bought tomatoes on our farm. So again, it's a plus. We also have our house avocado. This is the first time that it is fruiting. I don't know if I can get to it, but if you can see, there are some small avocados that have already formed. We have small avocados. So it's because I think it got intermingled with the maize when it was growing. That's why we have so much of the flowers that fell off. But at least we'll have some house avocado here. So we can just have a show round. The most beautiful time that we usually come to the farm is in the morning. We'll show you why we come in the farm in the morning. In the morning, when you have a nursery bed, it's the best time that you have to apply your foliar once in a week. We do it every Monday. Then we water also the nursery. We have cabbages and onions in our nursery for the July. So for the July and the August season, we're going to do onions, and we are also going to do cabbages. So I'll take you to
carrots.
Carrots are already on the farm. Dania are already on the farm. We did capsicum, but the problem we didn't soak our seeds. So farming is always a learning lesson every day. We didn't soak our seeds, we planted direct. Then what I noted about capsicum, they love a temperate. They don't want a lot of water when they are growing, and they also want warm soil when they are growing. So when the time we were planting them, it was a bit raining so heavily. So we have, out of the whole packet, I think you have seen like 10 that have sprouted. We'll have to reseed them again. So let's walk around and see. So this is a bit of the last patch of tomatoes that we are still eating from. And I want to show what now we are doing for the next season. So for the next season, what I've done, the tomatoes that are ripening, if you see what I've done, I've already mixed manure with the soil, and these are the tomatoes that were not okay. So I've crushed them in the sand or in the soil, then with time it will rot, then it will germinate. So for the next season, it's technically I've done my nursery bed on this. When they sprout, we will replant. So the whole, when you're having, or when you're laying out your land, if you can see the way we have laid out our land, this ordinarily would be our flower bed, but it's not it's more of a flower bed because we have, yes, the ornamental trees, we have our flowers, but on top of that you can see vegetables on each and every part. We have kales, we have tomatoes, we have managus. We also have at the end, we have done cucumbers, and we also have some local vegetables. We also had some maize here. Yes, some of them are still there. We also had some maize here, which you have already ate. They were the first ones we boiled. So it's a flower bed, but it is also multifunctional. It's not only a flower bed, but for us we also gain by interplanting with something else. This side we are seeing we have cassava. We have interplanted, this is cassava. This cassava, and we have also interplanted it with sukuma wiki. The last season we bought sukuma wiki that usually produce suckers when they are old. So this season we did not buy sukuma wiki. This has been planted from the suckers all the way down on the roadside. So that's the best thing about integrated farming. It's not just about beautification of the farm, it is, or the house that you're living here. We have also our onions for the season. So we are doing 2 types of onions. These ones are the ones that you'll have to use the leaves. Then in the nursery we have the ones that you'll have to use the, what is it called? The tube. The tube, yes. So I was talking about the local vegetable. This one we call it
mito.
Not mito. This one is not even serere. It's called terere. Mrenda. So it has already dried up, and these are the seeds. So we let it dry, then reseed back. The seed will germinate again from the soil. Then we'll transplant them to use them in the next season. So as we are self-generating, once we have planted once, the only thing we do is to use the seeds that come out to do our next planting season. So the next project that I would like to show you is we have started also a farm for the chicken. We have local chicken. We don't want the improved kienyeji, so we have decided to start with small chicks that will eventually grow up and multiply. So this is the chicken project that is also something new that we have started. So during the beginning of the season, we had to replant our strawberry patch so that we can have them aligned in one bed. That's what we did earlier this season, and right now the strawberries have developed. Most of them have flowered, most of them also have started seeding. The moment you see a flower in a strawberry, technically it becomes a fruit. So now what we are doing, we have been mulching with the maize. These are the leaves from the maize. That's what we have used to mulch instead of going to buy hay. Most of the time usually mulch with hay, but we have used these leaves. So it assists also in keeping the sand away from the strawberries. It is important to mulch your strawberries to ensure that the fruits are clean and away from insects, because it is a juicy fruit and it attracts a lot of insects. So mulching keeps both the weeds and the insects away. So that's why we do a lot of mulching. So I know someone would say that for you to get bigger apples, you'd have to remove these small ones. Yes, it's the best advice, but for us, given it's the first time this tree has removed, these are pink ladies, we have decided to leave all of them. I know not all of them will become big, but for you to get a bigger harvest, they usually recommend that you remove the tiny ones so that the bigger one can feed. But for us, because it's more of domestic, we'll leave the small ones for the babies to feed and the big ones will be for us to feed. But you can see the difference between this apple and the Wambugu apples, and they are fruiting. They're coming out from the stalk, most of them, and it's the first time. Look at. So ordinarily, if there are 3, most people would remove 1, then they remain with 1 or 2, but as you have left them, so 1 will become big, the other one will be a bit small. But it depends with the functionality of your apples. If your apples are commercial, then you'd want them big. But if your apples are domestic like us, we are okay even having the tiny ones. Another reason why you can even leave the tiny ones there, when the birds attack, if you have removed all of them, the birds will eat the only one that you're left with. But for us, there's a part there. The biggest one has been eaten by the birds, but we left the biggest one on the tree, the tiny one. We can see that. Ndirudi hapa kuna strawberry kubwa. So I don't know if you can be able to see these ones. They are for the Wambugu apples, they are a bit different. You are seeing you have a patch of 3 to 4, a cluster of 3 to 4. Most of them are big. The ones that are tiny are kidogo. They're not much. Even the one that the bird was eating, I'm not able to identify. But when now they continue to feed, the weight of the tree drops down the apples. So you can just pick when they are ripe. We have eaten most of them. As I said, it's domestic. But we are still seeing a bit of flowering, so I think we'll continue to have more of apples in this year. I'm not even seeing or saying there will be a season. I'm just seeing that it is a continuous season, both for the pink ladies and for the Wambugu. So on this bed, we did our carrots. Another thing, we mixed the carrots with the sand so that we can have spacing. But still you can see from one carrot to another, for you to determine the size of your carrots, you'd want to imagine how big you'd want your carrot to be. That's the space, the amount of space that you should leave between one carrot and the other. But for us to achieve that, we have to do thinning. We'll not do thinning right now. There are those small carrots that babies usually eat, or you can use for salads. So we'll leave the carrots until they are like the finger carrots, those ones that you can use for salads. Then instead of wasting them, we'll use the tiny ones for the salads. Then we'll leave a space of 1 centimeter, 1 inch between each, so that by the end of the harvest you can have a bigger harvest for the other carrots that are supposed to be stored. So for storing, you'd want bigger carrots, but for salads you'd want smaller. You can still get both from the same bed. Then tomatoes again, you can see most of the plant has already dried out, but as much as the plant has dried out, I think what happens by nature, for this fruit to become this big, it feeds from the leaves. So when your plant is still vegetative, like this part is vegetative, it is feeding this. That's why most people would cut out the vegetative part to feed. But for us, we usually leave. Before, you see, the place where the tomatoes are bigger, the leaves have already dried out because they have fed the fruit. So this part, it's still green. You still see it has young fruits. So when it comes to farming, what I would advise, just understand your plant. it might not be that everything that is online is the best advice. There are some who will cut for the fruit to become big. For us, we leave the leaves because we know it's from the leaf that the fruit feeds from. So that's how we can be able to achieve this size of tomatoes. And I would say they are kienyeji tomatoes because these ones we didn't get it from the greenhouses. These ones zilimea locally. So I think the next session we are going to have is for greenhouse. We have now the plants that we are looking forward to have between July and August. So there pia kumea na kuanguka pale. Nataka tuongelee ile pale. So like I had said, you see this was a ripe tomato, but nature did not allow me to collect it before it dropped. So when it dropped, I left it on the ground so that it can recede when the time has come. So that's how we grow our tomatoes. Naturally from what fell down to the soil comes out again in the next season. Our carrots, I remember we seeded again with coriander. There are a lot of weeds in between, so this is something that you just do as it goes. As the season goes, you don't have to struggle so much, but at the end of the day, the coriander will be able to rise above the weed. So these are our coriander. We'll continue to apply foliar for them to get bigger, because for coriander, what you eat are the leaves. So the bigger the leaves, the better for us. So this is our coriander, but it will not do for us more than one season. So we'll have to plant another coriander. There's also a tomato behind you. You can just put it well so that it can grow in the next season. Okay. So for the next season, I think this is a weed. We have cucumbers. We have interplanted cucumber with sweet potatoes. So cucumber, I think we achieved close to 80% germination rate. There's a position that they were not able. So these are sweet bananas, sweet potatoes, and these are cucumbers. And this is Mira again. I think Laban brought another Mira this side. I think he loves Mira. He has Miras all over the farm. Then lastly, on the fruit trees, this one I'm even thinking it's ready, but I will allow yes, I want it to be so sweet, so I'll allow it a few more weeks, just 1 week or two, then we can it is our first fruit from the pomegranate, and it's heavy, it's big. So the last part we can do is the greenhouse. So welcome to our greenhouse. This is our simple greenhouse, and there is a name for this cabbage. The type of cabbage was called what? Can you remember that one? My video man also has forgotten the name of the cabbage, but I'll give you I have the paper there. So yes, cabbages are doing well in the highlands, but we can't miss to plant also, because we assume that Western cannot grow cabbage. So this is my cabbage for the season. I might be late kidogo because I'm seeing this the sun it's more of sunny than the rainy season, but we'll have now to do, you can see we have watered, so we'll have to continue watering. It's on a shed, so we'll also allow it to become this size big. You see the way skuma are big when you're planting them, that is the size they will allow to come. Then we'll transfer them to the lower part. Before we get to the lower part, for us, we usually prepare our soil first before we do any transplanting or any planting. We have already acquired goat manure. Goat manure is a manure that the last time we did cow manure, but now for the different type of minerals that we require for our soil, we usually like doing goat, cow, and chicken manure, aside from the synthetic. Once in a while we do the synthetic, when we cannot be able to find, but it's advisable if you're doing organic, you stay 100% organic. So we'll prepare the soil by mixing the goat manure that you already have on the farm. Then we will transplant this one. The best thing about also this, if you can see, they have different germination. They were planted on the same day, but nature allows everything to go with its own phase. So the bigger ones are the ones that will transplant first. We'll allow the tiny ones more time. And we have intercropped it. This is now the bulb onions. Again, for the onions, if you want your onions to be this big, this size, between one crop to another, we'll have to leave this size. So we'll also have to do thinning here, but the thinning we're going to do is that when they're about this high, so that you can transplant them again on the other side. And here we'll just leave a spacing of like your arm, so that you'd want your bulb to be this big. So that's the planting we'll have for July and August, and they will be ready in between October and November. We thank God that Kakamega is a tropical area, so we know we'll have rain in between the season. We'll not just be on dry soil. So for us, that will be our 1 year planting for the year 2025. By the time we'll be doing this again, we'll be now going back to the next cycle, and again we start with maize and beans as usual. So this has been Kamix Organic. Thank you for watching. Thank you for viewing. Any questions, or if you want us, if you have something that can assist us also in how we are doing our farming, we would appreciate if you share the content with us. But until next time, thank you, and see you. Blessed day.